Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going on a vibrant, globe-trotting tour to unpack humanity's universal need to celebrate. And let me tell you, this need results in some wonderfully bizarre traditions. From total messy chaos to deeply quiet and symbolic rituals, human beings have always found just the most fascinating ways to mark the passing of time, gather up the harvest, and celebrate the major milestones of life.
Let's just dive right into the action, shall we? Picture this. We're in the town of Ivrea, Italy, where thousands of people willingly, yes, willingly, pelt each other with citrus fruits while standing in a thick sludge of pulp and horse manure. This is the annual Battle of the Oranges. Just imagine standing in a public square, the air smelling incredibly sweet and sour all at once, while oranges are flying past you so fast they literally knock the breath right out of you.
Now you might be wondering, why on earth would anyone do this? Well, it's actually all about psychological release. Take it from a local named Sylvia. While she was holding an orange to her swollen eye and sipping mulled wine, she explained that a black eye is a small price to pay to let out a whole year's worth of frustration. For the locals, these 3 days of absolute carnival chaos are genuinely good for their mental health. It's the ultimate stress relief.
To really wrap our heads around this, we got to talk about the Orangizzuri, or the orange throwers. See, the people on foot represent peasant commoners, and they're hurling oranges at opponents in horse-drawn carriages. And those folks in the carriages, they're wearing these wild Doctor Who-esque padded costumes with cylindrical helmets. It's not just a giant food fight. It actually symbolizes historical peasant revolt against feudal lords. They are literally acting out a revolution, but with fruit.
Okay, here is our flight itinerary for today's Explainer. First, the Battle of Oranges. Second, global Thanksgiving traditions. Third, ancient harvests. And finally, Nepal's Ihi tradition. Section 1. The Battle of Oranges. So, if you're ever visiting during the battle, there's a trick to surviving. If you wear a red, sock-shaped hat called a Barretto Frigio, which is actually an ancient symbol of freed slaves from Roman times, you're theoretically protected from the heaviest bombardments. Official notices all over town advise tourists to wear this hat so they're only considered a fair target for, gentle and moderate orange throwing. But honestly, sometimes an orange is still going to find its way right to your forehead. And hey, as a playful nod to the English textbook this info comes from, let's do a quick pronunciation check for the medical attention you might need if you lose your red hat out there. Ready? Concussion. 3 syllables, with the stress firmly on the second. With broken noses and bruised ribs being a super common sight at the festival, it's definitely a vocabulary word you'd want to keep handy.
Section 2. Global Thanksgiving Traditions. Let's see how the familiar concept of giving thanks transforms across different continents.
Before we hop overseas, just look at this number. 45 million. That is the staggering amount of turkeys consumed by Americans on a single day of gratitude. The day commemorates the 1621 feast attended by 90 Native Americans and 53 pilgrims. And fun fact, Americans actually eat more food on Thanksgiving Thursday than on any other day of the entire year, all while surrounded by massive parades and giant balloons. But how does the rest of the world do it? Well, countries like Brazil, South Korea, and Liberia have adapted the whole harvest celebration idea with their own unique, absolutely mouth-watering local twists. In South Korea's Chuseok, they eat songpyeon, which is a crescent-shaped rice cake cooked on fragrant pine needles. In Brazil's Dia de Ação de Graças, they do eat turkey, but since cranberries don't grow there, they whip up a sweet sauce made from jaboticaba, a type of Brazilian grape.
And over in Liberia, a tradition founded by liberated American slaves in the 19th century features roasted chicken and mashed cassava, liberally doused in incredible spices.
In the vibes of these festivals, they couldn't be more different. On one hand, you have the stark contrast of Korea's serene Chuseok to honor ancestors, where folks return to their hometowns for quiet ceremonies at their relatives' graves. And on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, we have Barbados's Crop Over. It's a massive, high-energy 12-week party culminating in the flamboyant Grand Kadooment. Originally a celebration of the sugarcane harvest back in the 1780s, Crop Over today is all about calypso bands and dancers in incredibly vibrant, larger-than-life costumes.
All right, Section 3, Ancient Harvests and Feasts. Stepping way back into deeper history, these are festivals born directly from the human struggle to survive. We're talking about a time when a good harvest was literally the difference between life and death.
Here's the crucial point. Back then, a feast wasn't just about excess. In Ghana, it was a literal mockery of the starvation their ancestors overcame. The word homowo actually translates to jeer or hoot at hunger. During this festival, they serve up a rich palm nut soup with fish, alongside something called kponai, which is a traditional grit made from unleavened corn dough and palm oil.
Just look at how the tension builds up to this festival. You've got months of mandatory silence before the joy finally erupts. From June to August, there's a strict ban on all drumming and singing. This intensely quiet period is meant to encourage proper care of the growing crops. But then, in August and September, that silence is completely shattered by a night of frantic, loud drum beating. It's this powerful auditory victory over famine.
Similarly, over in Iran, you have Mehrigan, a festival dating back to at least the 4th century BC to celebrate the goddess Meher. The visual elements here are just deeply symbolic. Revelers rub coal around their eyes as a good omen, and they throw handfuls of marjoram, lotus, and sugar plum seeds over each other. It's this gorgeous tapestry of ancient community blessings and lavish dinners that has somehow survived through the millennia.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 4, Nepal's Ihasa tradition. Here, we leave the loud communal harvest feasts behind and examine a really intensely personal rite of passage. It just goes to show how celebrations can also be profoundly private milestones. During the Aihi, or Bel Bibaha ceremony of the Newari community, young girls between the ages of 5 and 9 are symbolically married to the divine, specifically to Suvarna Kumar, a symbol of the god Vishnu. Now, as you can probably guess, sitting through a highly structured ritual for 2 consecutive days is pretty exhausting for a young girl and her parents.
But here is the absolute genius behind this tradition. It serves a brilliant historical purpose. It was cleverly created to protect women from the ancient sati widowhood traditions. Because the girl is formally married to the eternal Lord Vishnu first, if her future mortal human husband ever passes away, she is theoretically never considered a widow. Her divine marriage supersedes the earthly one, protecting her social status for her entire life.
And the whole thing hinges on one specific piece of fruit, the bahul, or wood apple. It acts as the ultimate, unrotting witness to this unbreakable cosmic bond. Because this fruit practically never rots, it's considered Divya Purusha, the perfect physical incarnation of a divine god needed to anchor an eternal marriage. Pretty amazing, right?
So, as we wrap up this global passport of traditions, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. No matter what corner of the globe we inhabit, what are the unique ways you gather to say thank you for the good things in your life? Whether you're dodging flying oranges, eating mashed cassava, or taking part in ancient, quiet rites, the human desire to celebrate is something we all share.
Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this sparks some curiosity about the fascinating traditions in your own backyard.